set that up first. Yeah, cool. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So this is a bit of a spontaneous appreciation game. So for those of you who don't know the appreciation game yet, we'll go through what it is in a minute, but we see a lot of familiar faces here. So a lot of you know what the appreciation game is, but this particular appreciation game, which will last for a month, is about creating the best case scenario in these times that we're living in right now. There's a lot going on, as we all know, and now is the time to be the creator of your reality. So what will we be going through? So why this game and why now? Important to go through what is happening right now and why it's so important to play this game. So mass consciousness, there's a lot of energies and emotions flying around, and Angelique and I both can feel that it's easy to get drawn in by this. And then there's also the guidance from Source and the Divine Matrix. So which do we choose? And then there's also creating best case scenario with a story from us, how we create the best case scenario. Research and science, heart-brain coherence and intuition. Thank you, Gabriella. Research, science, heart-brain coherence and intuition. Yeah, so the importance of creating heart-brain coherence and then practicing hearing the intuition. I think we all know that we can hear it, but we maybe sometimes even ignore it. So how to bring yourself into heart-brain coherence and what is intuition? We found some really good juicy stuff 20 minutes before we started this call. The contents of the upcoming game, so the month, and there's some beautiful bonuses, the Law of Vibration Book Club, and our app is here. We're so excited. So yeah, the appreciation game app. So we'll be going through all of this juicy stuff.
Sorry, I don't see the arrow anymore.
The arrow left.
Arrow.
How are we going to do this?
I'm just like, okay.
You do like the space thingy on the keyboard. Can you try that in a sec?
Let me see.
Make it
present.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. I know now how to do it. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, when everyone goes left, we go right. People are being sucked in, not like this is a bad thing. There's just energies flying around and maybe based on realistic views, not saying it's a bad thing, but we do feel that we're being drawn. It's really easy to be drawn towards a destination right now. And what we really want is to get into this higher state of vibration, because if we've been doing the work and have been studying spiritual concepts and what we have, and I think many of you have too, we know that we can create the best case. So yeah, really noticing when we're going that way and then choose to go the other way. Did it disappear again? That's so weird. Like you have it when you don't need it, but when you need it, it's gone. Well, the fear and scarcity-based pendulums, you can see the little image there, a woman in her home looking outside with her face mask on. Of course, the fear is based a lot on the stories that are being told and all the bad things that are being mentioned. There's also, of course, a lot of beautiful things, but these are the pendulums that are being created, like a force field of energy that's created around a certain fear and scarcity based on something real, but it's still a pendulum. So we'll explain what pendulums are a little bit more later as well. So choosing what you see, there's still beauty around, and I know a lot of people are seeing the beauty because there is a lot of beauty. People reaching out to each other, connecting with each other on a daily basis, where music being played on balconies, there's so much beauty, and also just the beauty in regular life. Like it doesn't have to be anything that's particular for this period, but there's beauty all around always. Like Mother Teresa famously always would find one beautiful flower in the slums in India. So why this game and why now? These are uncertain times. Let's be real. We can't turn our head and not hear about what's going on. So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. So we need to be empowered, and we need to be in our own power at this time and choose our reality rather than being swept away to the left. So we'll be able to notice the pendulums of mass consciousness after playing this game, because we already feel it. Like Angelique and I both get drawn into them sometimes. We're like, oh my gosh, and then we're like, oh no, wait, actually we can also step this way. So the awareness is just so important. So knowing when you're in a pendulum of this mass consciousness. So now more than ever, we need to actively create our reality, because the power is so strong too of these pendulums that we really need to actively be creating. We can't just allow ourselves to be swept that way, even though it's so powerful. So yeah, the key is to shift your vibration towards that reality. We can't have a reality that's based on harmony and beauty and love, and then be sitting here in fear and anger and worry and expect that we're going to go there. No, we need to go up to the harmony and peace and love, and then meet there. But we can't meet, it doesn't go that way. We have to bring ourselves up, and that's what the appreciation game is all about. We're the active creators here. We're not studying only, we're actively doing the work. So the basics, what is the appreciation game? It is super simple. That doesn't mean it's always easy. That's why we had the accountability. So appreciate 3 times a day. How do we appreciate? We'll go through a little consciousness scale later that will show you the emotions that I'm talking about right now. But for now, what you need to know is that you record in a journal or in the amazing app you'll see later, in which emotional guidance, where you are on the emotional scale. So maybe you're in courage. And then you actively appreciate. So you sit down, or maybe even stand, eyes open, eyes closed, doesn't matter. And then you appreciate. So you can do it in any way that you deem useful for you. But usually you focus a bit on your heart and appreciate what's around you. In the beginning, you'll appreciate things that are easy to appreciate, like your home, your car, your family. And then at the end, maybe when you're a little bit more experienced, you'll be able to appreciate that annoying coworker and stuff like that, or the coronavirus. I said it, you know. And then after you've appreciated, you record how you feel then. So the key is to go up the guidance scale and see the distance that you've traveled, how far you've come, and then know that this creates a better reality. So we're actually kind of being scientists in our own life. That's what makes it scientific too. And then we post in the group once a day. We have a new platform that we're going to be using on Mighty Networks. So before we were using Ning, and this beautiful group energy is created here. So posting in the group is our way of holding you accountable, and for us to see how you are improving, what you are creating, and yeah, just being able to create. Without people engaging with each other, there's not really a group energy. So there's still a group energy, but it's way more powerful. So that's the accountability. You tell us how many days you want to get a wild card, like a day off, basically. You're like, oh, there's a big meeting coming up, and then like you need 3 days off, or maximum 3 days off. And then we'll kick you out if you don't do it. Like we're pretty harsh in that aspect, because we really want people who are committed, and you are the person who knows how many days off you need. So this group energy. So for example, I love this example that one person starts creating more clients for their business, and then everyone starts, not everyone, but a lot of people follow. You see this group mentality, one person does it, and not even like talking about it, just sort of everyone starts mentioning it. So yeah, there's something about this group energy that creates similar outcomes for a lot of people, because we're in the same energy. So yeah, some testimonials. We're doing it really briefly. We have a lot of testimonials, but we can't go through it all. So we're just gonna, the results, we're here about the results. So these are the testimonials with results that we're like, yeah, this is fun to share. So A went from 40K in 6 months. She created that in 6 months prior to the game, and then earning 40K in 1 month. So that's a beautiful growth and quick. J went from 0K to 14K revenue, which was 8K profit. That's huge. M had a 5-figure order come in within the first days of playing the game. D created a proposal for 50K just by appreciating herself more. I love that, appreciating herself more. And for multiple players, existing and new clients coming from nowhere. So existing clients they already know, and new clients just calling out of the blue. And then downloads. So downloads are, intuitions, blocks of thoughts that come to you. So Kay moved from fear to getting a call to give a lecture and do a project within the EU. Jay didn't know what a download was, really wanted to know, thought it would never happen to her, and moved beyond the analytical mind and then got a download. And super creative and completely perfect in all aspects of her business, but she had never thought of it before and never even considered combining those. V wanted to move from one-on-one work to working with big groups, which she then created out of the blue, coming to her, a download. And M received a download for a fun idea to work with a celebrity, and he got it. So those are fun examples.
I want basically D created a proposal for 15K, 15, not 50.
Oh.
Yeah, so because I read it and I was like, wow, 15, that's already amazing, because I think that was quite exceptional in her line of business. So
oh yeah,
okay. we'll change.
And here is the emotional guidance scale from David Hawkins. So he wrote a book, Power versus Force. Power is where you are drawing energy from the field. Force is, so when you have energy coming to you, and force is where you're drawing from this field. Maybe sing a little, so at least you're creating energy when you're in power, and you're drawing energy when you're in force. So there's like, you're becoming depleted. There's not enough, like at one point it's going to be gone and you're like burned out or something. So we want to be in power. This is also where you have the creativity and the intuition and the insights and the peacefulness, and everything just seems easier. So we really want to be in a power, and that's why we appreciate 3 times a day, because this moves us easily up the guidance scale. So it's super easy. So the levels are on the left side. These are sort of the words that explain what the emotion entails, what it is. So when you're starting the appreciation, you go through the scale and sort of feel how you are feeling. You can look at the numbers and see how much you are growing, but you do not have to do this. You do not have to understand the numbers at all. It's handy for some people to be like, oh, I went from 200 to 500. It just feels so good to have these numbers. But for some people, it's like, I have no idea, like, why 500? I don't get it. So don't use it in the way that works for you. So what we want to do is move up. So that's the goal. And then you could go up from courage to acceptance, or maybe even higher. I don't usually jump that high, but you can also go from courage to neutrality. It's like every small win is huge. And the key is to appreciate 68 seconds at least. We know people who do 20 minutes 3 times a day, and write it down before and write it down after, because otherwise you're not going to remember it. You're not going to know how you are growing. And that's what that's why we're here. We need to be able to see the improvement. Otherwise it's not real. We can our mind can tell us that it didn't happen.
I want to add a bit more about the David Hawkins consciousness scale. So those of you who are really geeky, you can actually download several of his books about his research-based findings based upon these levels of consciousness. And basically what is very important is that between power and force, there's a world of difference, because actually when you're in force, you're actually living in a state of mind and state of being where your results are actually determined by what we call disempowered states of being. So what we know now is, from all the research, is that actually when you're in force, you're drawing energy from the field instead of contributing energy to the field. So when you're drawing energy from the field, you are very susceptible, especially in these times of fear, panic, worry, worst case scenario thinking, economic recession, fear of death, fear of, God names it. There's fear now. There's crisis now. If you are drawing energy from the field, you are going to be resonating or become a vibrational match to the collective mass consciousness. And the collective mass consciousness has primarily, for all the ages that we've been witnessing now, and we have to be realistic here, it has been dominated by scarcity thinking and by states of survival and competition. We know now, basically, because of some amazing new scientists here and amazing forward-thinking scientists that really are saying that actually these paradigms of competition, scarcity, and survival are outdated. Actually, we are more wired to be to collaborate and to create win-win situations rather than to compete with each other and to believe that actually only the fittest will survive. That's actually, those paradigms are actually quite outdated. And so if you study the books of Gregg Braden and all his research-based science, you would probably know more of it. And there's more and more books now talking about these new paradigms, which we need to actually study them, because our conditioning, the way that our body is wired, it is wired to actually live in fight, flight, or freeze. And so this evolution, going from force into power, is really going to happen at the level of courage, which is at a number of 200. He measured it at 200. But basically, when you are in 200, there's a huge shift in terms of consciousness between people that actually go to 200 and people that stay under 200. People that stay under 200 do not take responsibility. So what that means is they are still finding ways to blame the circumstances, the environment, history, astrology, economy, presidents, pharmaceutical companies, you know, conspiracy theories, or whatever it is. They're still finding ways to blame something outside of them to actually to justify the way they are reacting to reality. So they are in what we would call victim consciousness. They don't accept that they are powerful creators. Once people step into courage, however, they let go of this belief that they are powerless victims, and they start to accept, because of whatever they've been witnessing, or maybe because they've been studying for many years, or they've been going to many, many programs and workshops, they start to accept that there is a power within them that helps them become resourceful, helps them become a channel for a force that is higher than them. And that is the moment when they start to shift their identity from being a powerless human being to maybe a channel for something bigger. And when they start stepping into that creatorship, they then evolve through several stages again, which we will mention later. But once they are out of this, I am relying on the environment to give me permission to thrive, or I'm relying on the economy to tell me that I can be successful in my business or in my career, they are going to actually shift to actually, you know what, given the economic stresses now, and given the mindsets of other people, I can still think greater than my environment. I can still think greater than my fight, flight, or freeze response. And these people then go into what we call higher states of consciousness. And from all the research that we've been doing, and Ellen and I, we really wanted to find the science behind this, because we knew that where we were guided, there was going to be science, and we found the science. And basically, people who are tapping into higher levels of consciousness, they're very often in heart and brain coherence. And when they're in heart and brain coherence, they actually are more susceptible to receiving what we call intuition. And there's even now science about intuition. There's science about heart and brain coherence. There's science about how actually not being in heart and brain coherence is going to affect our levels of receiving the intuition from actually what we call the non-local field, the non-local knowledge. So we're going to go into that later on. But what is happening now? So basically, when you played appreciation game with us, what you are mastering is to get yourself out of the habits of that bring you back into where you act like a victim, where you're going to let the environment or what is happening around you dictate what's possible for you. And so when we cultivate these alignment skills, as we call them, and we practice heart and brain coherence through the simple practice of appreciation, And we do that in a way that makes you accountable, and that makes you have to study or inspire yourself about these teachings and the science of these amazing new paradigms. When you do that every day, and you do that for 28 days, maybe you even do it for 3 months with us, or maybe you even feel inspired to do it for 6 months with us, in all the different games that we're going to be downloading, you're going to be shifting definitely from believing that you are a victim to proving to yourself that you are a deliberate creator, and that you are not just creating for yourself. Actually, that once you start tapping into the higher states of consciousness, you're moving out of the lower levels of consciousness, which are the pendulums of the masses, which are all about survival, scarcity, competition. There's not enough, it's going to be horrible, you know, all of us are going to lose our jobs, blah blah blah. Whereas when you start becoming intuitive, you're going to be receiving guidance, and that is our experience. You're going to be receiving guidance download that don't have anything to do with your analytical insight. They are to do with you surrendering to the field of wisdom that is all surrounding us. And once you surrender to that field of wisdom, you're going to tap into non-local intuition, which is there's actually a lot of research about non-local intuition. And this non-local intuition will tell you what to do. It will tell you, will give you thoughts, it will give you impulses, it will give you excitement, it will bring you people, it will make people call you instead of you calling them. These are the things that are happening to us. And these are the things that can happen to you too. Once you start really getting out of the programs of the collective consciousness, which are all about what we call, you know, you need to control, you need to control, manipulate, fight, be scared about your life. And once we get out of these collective pendulums of scarcity and fear and worry, we're going to go back into our real natural power. When we're in power, we're going to forgive, we're going to trust, we're going to be optimistic, we're going to even be optimistic when we see challenges. We're going to say yes even to challenges, because we know the law of polarity. When there's a problem, there's a solution. But the solution can only come in when we are receptive to the guidance of the collective wisdom, and that wisdom has nothing to do with our intelligence, because very often our intelligence, our analytical software is just in the way. And so Ellen and I and one of our guests here, Sinove, we have plenty of evidence to actually show you that we have experienced this firsthand, how when we started trusting the downloads, when we started trusting the non-local intuition that came to us, how our lives started being guided by an invisible force. You know, what is that invisible force? It's basically the divine, call it the divine, call it source, call it higher self, I don't know what you want to call it, but we trust it and we work with it, and we are receiving many, many blessings and many miracles. And so what we want to share here again is a download. So if you want to understand what does it mean to be tapped into pendulums and to lose your power, to force, it's basically you just resonating at the same level of consciousness to the mass consciousness around us that has created the problems of our lives in the first place. And so when we go into power, we are not going to be closing our eyes for all the things that are happening in the world right now. We're just going to be receptive to the solutions that are going to come now that have to do with the next step of our evolution, of our economic systems, of our financial systems, of the way we make money, of the way that we're going to create livelihoods for ourselves. And I think all of us are shocked by what is going on. None of us, unless you're super psychic, none of us have had the foresight to know that this was going to happen. And this is why Ellen and I, when this happened, I was like, I thought, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. I just had to sit and wait for the download. And trust me, the download came on Tuesday. The words came on Tuesday. And that's when the synchronicity started happening. And that's why Ellen and I, even 20 minutes before this webinar, we were still downloading. We were still receiving downloads like, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. And so we actually don't know what we're doing. We're just receiving the downloads, and we're just implementing it. So We're also just learning from everything that we're receiving and testing it out for ourselves. But what we can see is that when we are sharing this with our communities and people are using these alignment skills and these practices for themselves, they start getting results as well. So what we do believe is that what is overseen in a lot of the personal development communities is that they do not understand that the levels of consciousness dictate so much. You can do a little trick on the wrong level of consciousness and you won't get the results. So let's say you do amazing meditations, but you're still in pride, right? You're still feeling superior. You know, I had that problem for a long time. I was stuck in pride for many, many years. Spiritual pride is a hide. So people that do this personal development work, they very often feel a bit superior. They feel a bit like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. You should read that book. You should read that book. You should go to that course. I mean, I've been there so many years, right? And so when I was there, believe me, I wasn't manifesting. I basically was not in power. I was feeling superior. So it was still coming from a worldview of separation. Once I started understanding that everything was a mirror of my consciousness, everybody that came was a vibrational match to me, that's when I had to start accepting other people, so-called other people. I had to start accepting their worldview. I had to start seeing the way that their worldview made sense to them, that my worldview was different, but it made sense to me and everything is valid. And once I started letting go of pride, I started going to what I would call acceptance 350. And then, you know, things change in my life again, and I had to forgive and I had to understand people that I didn't want to understand. I really wanted to kill them, but I had to understand them. And then I went to, at one point, I even had to move to love, unconditional love. Just saying, you know, I'm done with trying to change people. I'm just gonna love them no matter what. And then my life shifted again. So I think once you start understanding for yourself that levels of consciousness have a huge, huge, huge impact on everything you do, and it's worthwhile studying, you're going to really be reaping the benefits of the appreciation game. So having said that, I hope that I haven't disrupted you too much, Ellen. But I just really felt that this was so important because I think right now there's so much that we can take. We can take so much energy from the field, and it's not gonna help us. But it is our own responsibility to go into power and to really do the forgiveness, do the optimistic thinking, do the trusting, do the unconditional loving, do the compassionate understanding, and even do the joyful, despite what's going on, and then to prove to ourselves what's possible. And later on, we will come with our story of how we download the best case scenario, what then started happening, and how we are receiving downloads, and how we are acting on it, and how we are proven again and again that the downloads are real and that we're not making it up. They really prove what we call non-local intuition and how we then build our business. Thank you, Ellen.
While you're talking, can you just go through slide 10 too? Because I think you can explain pendulums better than I do. I'm a little afraid of slide 10, everyone.
So basically, you know, pendulums is a concept that comes from a book called Reality Transurfing, and you can actually listen to the audiobook on YouTube. And I can tell you that once I started I don't know, so like I've been receiving downloads for a very long time, but I didn't really understand that they were downloads. So 2 years ago, I started getting this intuition or this block of thought that came to me and said, you're gonna study David Hawkins. And I was like, but David Hawkins is difficult to read. So my mind was like, it's very, very difficult to read, but I trusted it. I trusted this download. So I started reading his book and I was like, this book is brilliant. This book is the answer, you know? And then I started doing masterminds about David Hawkins' book with my mastermind. And then suddenly the next download was, you're going to study reality transurfing. And I was like, what is reality transurfing? I started like listening to the audiobook and I was like, I don't get it, but I was like really obsessed about it. I started telling my friends about it. We started studying it together. And then as I was listening to reality transurfing, it felt so real that actually that everything is energy and everything is consciousness. And so what happens when many, many people think the same thought at the same time? So for instance, we're going to have an economic collapse, yeah? Or this crisis is going to create a recession for, let's say, 5 years at least. So many businesses are going to go down, especially in these sectors. So when people start to create these levels of consciousness, what happens is you get like an energetic field, a thought, an energetic attractor field that then starts to take its own force. It's a force field that has its own life. It doesn't have an identity, but it does need other people to feed it. And what I learned from reality transurfing was shocking. It meant that actually very often these pendulums, they are around us. And as soon as you are a vibrational match to one of these pendulums, you get sucked in, you get hooked by it. What does it mean to be hooked by a pendulum? When you're hooked by a pendulum, you are being fed the thought forms of the collective pendulum. So let's say you are a vibrational match to the thoughts about recession in your specific industry, or your country, or your city, or whatever it is. Or it could be the health pendulum, or the health scare pendulum, or I don't know what pendulums there are that really worry you, but think of the thing that really worries you. You're probably already a vibrational match, the pendulum that is in the collective. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be fed because you're hooked. It's almost like in the Matrix, right? When you see all the people being, they are in tubes. It's like you are on a tube and you're receiving all these messages from the collective consciousness. And then you start thinking that those are your thoughts, but they are not your thoughts. They're actually the thoughts of the collective. And as long as you are fighting against the pendulum, so you're trying to resist it, and you are not rising above its level of consciousness, you're going to be a source of empowerment to the pendulum. So and then that book actually explains the many types of pendulums that are out there that are not even true. So one of them is hard work causes you to be successful. Well, that book has a whole chapter about, I think, the hard work pendulum. And actually, once I started understanding what pendulums were, I started noticing them everywhere. And once you start unhooking yourself from the collective pendulums, you start to realize that a lot of things are not reality. They are just perception. And that the people that can rise above the pendulums of our collective, they are the ones that create new solutions. They are the ones that are tapping into innovative solutions. All the rest is just trying to analyze, trying to think their way out of the same level of consciousness that created a problem. So I hope that once you start understanding what pendulums are, they can come, it doesn't really matter where they come from. They can come from your individual life. They can come from your family. They can come from your culture. They can come from your society, your industry. They can come from experts telling us what's going to happen, right? All these things are creating pendulums. And once you are disempowered by a pendulum, you're going to believe that that's reality. And because you believe that, that is what you're going to create. But look at all the people that are making money despite whatever crisis is going on. They're not being hooked by pendulums. They just know that they're going to make money. They're going to find a way to make money, because making money is really about creating solutions for problems. It has nothing to do with what you're doing now. So whatever you're doing right now, you can still make money as long as you're creating solutions for problems that are arising. So I think pendulums, especially now in our economy, but definitely also pendulums about our own power, they're really being, you really need to be discerning once you start believing pendulums that have nothing to do with the reality of who you are and the ability of us to transcend the mass consciousness that is rampant. Those of you studying Dr. Joe, studying Greg Braden, studying Bruce Lipton, studying, Abraham Hicks, and HeartMath Institute, maybe even emotion freedom technique, emotion code. All of you know that. Also, the other techniques that I'm studying, fast EFT, release technique, Sedona method. You know that actually there is a lot out there that teaches us that once we start to transcend our own levels of consciousness, we start to not even identify with the self anymore, because the self is formed by this history, this baggage that we call ourselves. But actually, when you start to understand who you really are, you start to see how when you shift your identity, everything shifts. So I think all the work that we're doing with Appreciation Gang is to really help you understand that who you think you are is just like a story. And once you shift the story, you will actually really have to review your own limitations, but also the things that you haven't mastered as something that you can choose to master. And this is why we call it the alignment skills, because they're just skills. We might know about the skills, and we thought we read about them. We might have seen it in a movie. We see a few special people doing it, but actually I believe all of us can do it. But it takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes commitment. And it definitely takes us to make the commitment to challenge our habitual ways of being. And pendulums are hard because pendulums are so bought in by everybody you know. Everybody you know will believe in the pendulums. Everybody you know will say, hey, this is just reality. What are you trying to say? And so I really believe that once you start understanding that a lot of perceptions are just pendulums, they are based on collective beliefs. Another one is, in the dating world, another one is all the good men are taken, or all men just want to date like young, like dumb women. Like, you have a lot of these dumb pendulums out there. I mean, some of them are so dumb that you think, of course that's a pendulum, that's not real. But how many people believe them? Another one is, I'm just not good enough. Another one is like, I don't have solutions. I don't know. I don't have the intelligence to have the solutions. Actually, once you start studying intuition, you know that you don't need that. You don't need analytical knowledge to have the solution. You actually will be able to tap into the solutions. So I hope that this is clear. Yeah. Look up the book Reality Transurfing.
Cool. So that leads beautifully towards the worst case scenario. And Angelique was saying, I'm not good enough. So it's a lot about yourself. There's not enough money. I can't handle money. Money just doesn't grow on trees. My business is not successful enough. I don't do enough. I don't have enough time. There aren't enough clients or prospects. And then the possibilities are the crisis will cause all businesses in this field to go down. The recession will last so long, so we're screwed. The economy will be shit. Everyone will just be, no one will be thriving. Nobody will be making more money. Like, all these worst case scenarios are already being formed now as we speak in the pendulums. Yeah.
And the thing is like, if you are not going to transcend your level of consciousness, you will actually see proof of all of this. But what you will also see is that the people that are transcending this level of worst case scenario thinking, they are the ones creating opportunity, even in the face of crisis. And why wouldn't you be one of those entrepreneurs? Why wouldn't you be one of those people that can create those opportunities for themselves? Yeah. And I think you're here because you felt a resonance with this topic. You felt like there's gonna, this is going to impact my livelihood. This is going to impact my business. And that's why you're here. So I hope that you, just by listening to this, that you'll be having a few light bulb moments so that you can think, wait a minute. I've been very worried about this specific thing. This has kept me stuck in my business. I couldn't stop thinking about this topic. Actually, am I dealing with a pendulum? And if I'm dealing with a pendulum, how am I going to get out of it? So
I'm muted. If there's something that you desire and it's not coming to you, it always means the same thing. Always. You are not a vibrational match to your own desire. What I said before, you're right here, lower level, and whatever lower force field, and you want to go to power, of course, you need to go up first before you can meet your desire. You can't just skip. So it doesn't work like that. So you're always without fail. So absence of appreciation, when you're creating from a state of survival, we're living in the human laws and conditioning. Basically, they're man-made laws that we live in. We live in scarcity. There's not enough mindless action-driven strategies, just going, even though it's maybe not even productive. The ignorance levels of consciousness, ignoring the guidance and intuition, like there's always a way to hear it, but you're not tapping into it. And maybe you're hearing it, but you're ignoring it and not taking action on it even. So there's multiple steps you have to do when you hear the intuition. You're sabotaging yourself. You're in victim consciousness. Everything is happening to you. You have self-worth issues. I'm not good enough. The pendulums of hard work again. And any other subconscious programs we have, and transgenerational trauma. So when we live in a state of creation, we abide by the universal laws. We are living from the end result, best case scenario. We're feeling abundant and thus creating abundance. We are raising the levels of consciousness and vibration in our own lives, the people around us, and of the planet. As Abraham Hicks says, one person in alignment is more powerful than a million who are not. We're in a receptive mode. We're allowing these blocks of thoughts to come to us. We're receiving guidance and taking action on them because it just seems so logical and easy. There's no other way about it. We're open to guidance and intuition, heart-brain coherence, intuition, Angelique will talk about later. Heart-brain coherence and the link between intuition. We'll be seeing through the eyes of source. We receive what we vibrate out into the quantum field. We'll see a beautiful correlation between the two. So when we're in appreciation and receptive mode, these are the results you'll experience. So resistance will dissolve. You'll hear blocks of thoughts that source offers. Hear guidance from your inner being. You're following and trusting the impulse that comes in the receptive mode. So you're also taking action on this beautiful, simple block of thought that has come to you. And it doesn't always have to be a thought. And leading you to the happy journey towards manifestation. So that's what we're here for, right? Results too. So appreciation and the 7 toxic ways of thinking. They are devaluing anything. That's the opposite of appreciation. Appreciation is increasing the value of anything. So devaluing is a toxic way of thinking, very easy to fall into. These are so powerful, and really, we really recommend you to study these and become so familiar with them that you'll notice them when you're in there. But we'll give you opportunities in the game to do this as well. Victimization, blame, it's all happening to me. I'm not powerful, I can't do anything. Comparing, competing, I have to go for it. Also scarcity, I have to go for this, otherwise there's not going to be enough. Time warping. I'm blanking on time warping right now. Generalization. Everything is like this. Sorry, my daughter is crying.
Shall I take over and you take care of it?
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, so basically time warping is when you are taking an experience from the past and you're projecting it into the future. We do it a lot, of course, because when we have things from the past happen to us, it creates a filter, right? So let's say you had a very bad experience, let's say, I don't know, money, you know, you're going to see money or business through that lens. So if this happens, let's say in love, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to feel very confident in love, right? So that's time warping. Catastrophic thinking, well, that's the opposite of best case scenario thinking. But I am very good in catastrophic thinking. I can tell you that was a habit that I had to really struggle with it. Catastrophic thinking, mainly because my body was conditioned into panic attacks. So I had something happen. I had something, I don't know, I think it was like a family trauma that helped program me into panic attacks. And they happened without me actually even knowing what was going on. And so when I started studying panic attacks and family constellations and, you know, the quantum field, the collective field of wisdom that surrounds us, I understood that, you know, a lot of, let's say, survivors of Second World War, they also have panic attacks, and these panic attacks have nothing to do with their lives. They have to do with like generations, you know, grandfathers being killed by the Nazis, or you know, bankruptcies in the Second or First World War. And So my catastrophic thinking was transgenerational. So, you know, a lot of these things are not even your fault. They just come to you because we're one with the family field. We're one with the fields that we're born into. Urgency is also another one that really is a big one. You know, look at all the you know, all the things that are happening now on social media, and people going to supermarkets to buy food, and people hoarding food, people going into, you know, worst case scenario thinking around the supplies in supermarkets. You know, definitely a lot of things are happening with urgency, and we're not saying that this is not sensible, but we are saying that, you know, if you want to act from urgency in your business, or you want to act from urgency in, let's say, huge decisions surrounding your livelihood or your career, that is not the most optimal way of thinking and being. So yeah, so
Thank you.
Ellen.
Sorry about that. So the alignment skills for deliberate creation. So there's a recipe. The recipe for deliberate creation has 10 parts, 5 parts of appreciating what is, 2 parts of imagining a little better than what is, 2 parts of looking for things that could make you feel better, 1 part of quieting your mind, relaxing, not trying so hard, being at ease with it. So I really like that. If there's something you desire and it's not coming to you, it always means the same thing. You are not a vibrational match to your own desire. It bears repetition. It's an important one. So yeah.
It's an important one because it is a teaching about how we downloaded the best case scenario. So as I said, those of you who know our story, Ellen and I met at a Dr. Joe retreat last year in April in Mallorca. And the group that we were in, the Flamingos, is around 70 people, like 70 amazing people. But Ellen and I and a few of us, we lived around Amsterdam. We would meet up like maybe once a month or something, you know, but not too often. But suddenly I had to download a really strong download, and it said so basically the first download I had was at a walking meditation. It said, you're going to create a game, and it's going to be called the receiving game. And I was like, the receiving game. And you know what I did? I tried to analyze it. I tried to create PowerPoints, and I was making PowerPoints, and I got completely stuck. I just couldn't get anywhere because I was trying to analyze it. I was trying to use my mind to make it happen. And so I wasn't going anywhere. I still have the slides where I got stuck. So because I just couldn't finish it. And I'm super intelligent. I know a lot about this topic, but I just couldn't make it happen. Okay. So I just let it go. I just thought, okay, let's focus on other things. And then suddenly I got the next download, which was like, you're going to work with Ellen. And by that time I was meditating every day, creating my future every day. And Ellen was in the same group at 5 a.m. And so basically I just went to Ellen and I just thought, Ellen, I feel that we need to do business together. And I didn't even know what that was going to look like. And Ellen, what did you feel when I came to you with that indecent proposal?
It felt like it already happened. So I was like, oh yeah, I don't know why, but I think we're supposed to be doing this. Yeah. And we didn't even know what it was, but we just both felt, yeah, this, okay. Yeah. I knew you were coming or something, but yeah.
It was bizarre. So it was really bizarre. And then later on, we just thought, oh, let's just start creating an event in Amsterdam. Let's call it, you know, in the Vortex Dinner, because Abraham Hicks is in Amsterdam. And so basically we started working together. We would meet up in cafes and things like that. And we would find out, because we didn't even do the business planning. We didn't even do like a mission statement. We didn't even do like, oh, what is our ideal client? We didn't do anything of that. We just thought, let's just go with the flow. And we felt we had to create that dinner. So we sat down next to each other in a cafe, we started working, and then we found out we had complementary skills. Like I was really good at certain things, she was really good at other things, and we were complete complementary to each other. And so as we started working, we would start to find out that we were very aligned in how we think about how we could create our business and how we would make decisions as well. Basically, both of us did not believe in analytical mind. Both of us just trusted our intuition very strongly. And this is not to say that I'm a very trusting person. I'm the most scared person ever, I can tell you. I live in fear most of the time before I did the Dr. Joe work and before April, because that was like a turning point in my life, April 2019. And so basically this level of trust that I was cultivating with Ellen in our business was very new to me. I can tell you it was quite new to me. But I think it was also because Ellen and I were we were creating synergy in our levels of consciousness. And then as we progressed, we started seeing the guidance that we were receiving, and that the guidance was very real. One basic example was, for instance, that I was at home working and I had this download and I was like, wow, I need to do this. I need to talk to Ellen. So the next day I was meeting Ellen, we were in the club, and I said to Ellen, I really feel we should we should create these workshops where people come and we just play with ideas. We get in the vortex and then they just start getting all these ideas and downloads about their business. And then Ellen said, I've been studying playing as serious business for like many years. I've been reading all the books upon it. And I looked at it and I said, really? That's so bizarre, because that idea really came to me. And she said, no, I really wanted to do this for a long time. And you come up with that idea. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And so we were talking about gamification. We were going to lunch. And then that same day, we came back from lunch into the club where I'm a member. And as we enter into the club, this club has no books, I tell you, but Ellen runs into a book. That book is called Gamification. It's in the club, and the club owners or the club staff says, oh yeah, it just happens to be one of the books that's lying here. And why don't you take it home with you? And we're like, no, we're not going to take it home with us, but this is a sign, right? So that's one of the first crazy things that we encountered. The second crazy thing that happened to us was, where we really felt that we had to, we really felt aligned around this topic of appreciation. Again, this topic of appreciation just came to me as a download. It was like a block of thought that wasn't thought of by me. It was just swirling around in my field. And I was like, what is this thought? And I just thought, okay, apparently we have to do something with it. Ellen felt it too. Don't ask me. I mean, how did you know we had to work with appreciation, Ellen? How did you feel it?
Yeah, it just seemed like a simple, powerful tool, and was like, yeah, it just felt like it would be a game changer. And because it's so simple, it's so easy to understand and implement. But you just have to do it.
So basically, when we received the download, we said, okay, we have to look at the science of appreciation, because, you know, we live in a science-based society right now. There's a lot of amazing research being done. What is the science about appreciation? And those of you who know the anecdote, basically, Ellen and I started Googling like crazy, looking for the science of appreciation. We couldn't find any of it. All we found was science of gratitude and science of positive thinking, right? And so we had lists and lists and lists of positive thinking, gratitude. And then we said, okay, we will have to be creative. We will have to make a link between gratitude and appreciation. Whereas Abraham really says, gratitude is not appreciation. Gratitude is because you receive something. And appreciation is you increase the value of something without even receiving it. So basically, it's a very different concept. And appreciation is even higher than gratitude in terms of the level of elevation that it gives to our energy field. And so I then let go. I just thought there is no research on appreciation. And then suddenly one day I had this download and it said, go to the HeartMath Institute. And I was like, oh, that is such like, of course, the HeartMath Institute. The HeartMath Institute has done millions of papers, scientific papers. Why would I not go to the HeartMath Institute? Anyways, I go to the HeartMath Institute, and I really, all of you know, I'm 49. I need +1 glasses, but I don't wear them because they look so dumb on me. So very often I have to like zoom in letters because I can't read them anymore, or I'm half blind trying to guess what's going on the screen. So on the HeartMath website, I then started browsing, and there were like, I don't know, maybe 500 case studies or something. And I was like getting lost, and I was like, I don't know anymore. I'm just going to click here. I'm just going to click here. And then at one point I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to buy one of their books. So, and I'm sure that this book from all the books will summarize what all the research is about. And literally, I couldn't even read the book. I couldn't even read the booklet. I just clicked on it. And then when I decided to buy it, I saw the title of the one book that I clicked on, which was one of the many thousands of books on their website. And that book was called The Appreciative Heart. And to me, that was such an amazing synchronicity that I thought we were Googling for days. Like, and I know Boolean search, and I'm a super researcher. I am like an investigator in the corporate world because I'm a headhunter, right? And I couldn't find this book. And my intuition told me how to find it. And I didn't even know that I was going to find it. So when I told Ellen, we knew that we were guided. We knew like this book is coming to us. And it was not a coincidence. So that was another anecdote. We had another anecdote, which was very simple, but it was really still very profound to us. So basically, Ellen and I sometimes meet up because we're going to brainstorm about what we're going to do, what we're going to like be teaching the next week. So basically, we just download. We don't try and think about it, because definitely when Ellen and I notice that we're trying to think about it, it hurts our brain. So I don't know whether you understand what hurting your brain is, but it feels like downloading is so much easier than thinking about things, because when you're downloading, it just flows. You're just doing things like without thinking. It feels like somebody's dictating things to you. Whereas when you have to think about it, you're like, maybe I'll do that. No, maybe I'll do that. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. I'm lost now. Maybe I should read another book. That's how my brain works. My brain is fucking crazy. Like, it's like, doesn't trust itself, needs to verify all the source. Whereas when I'm downloading, I just know where to go. It just feels like go there, go there, go there. It's just really like somebody's dictating something to me. And I think this is how Ellen and I prefer to work. But at the day that we were talking about this specific thing that we needed to do, I suddenly had this, like, I was downloading, I said, we need to watch this movie, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. And then Ellen looked at me and she said, I've been thinking about that movie for the whole day yesterday, and I don't even know why. I haven't even seen the movie. And we were like looking at each other like, oh my God, that's like weird, right? And so how did we come to the best case scenario? And we want to talk about our story. And that's why we invited one of our friends who is another flamingo. She's another amazing coach and therapist and mentor to people. So basically, Ellen and I, we designed a game for the next appreciation game, which called the Business and Wealth Vortex. But once the Corona crisis hit, I really felt that's not the way to go. This is really not what the world needs. We need to design something completely different, but I didn't know what it was. And for days I was like, I'm not going to try and think about it. I'm going to let it go. Even if it means that we're not going to play the appreciation game, I'm going to surrender. And then suddenly one day I was sitting with Ellen and I just knew we had to, I said to Ellen, I'm going to download the title. I don't know what the title is. I'm going to download it. And suddenly these words started coming to me, creating from the best case scenario in a state of, in times of uncertainty. And I was like, wow, best case scenario, creating from is coming from the word living from the end result from Neville Goddard, but creating from. So it's not creating the best scenario, best case scenario, it's creating from the best case scenario, like the way that Neville Goddard refers to it. And so once Ellen and I decided that we're going to work with that theme, I was feeling a bit out of my comfort zone, to be honest, because best case scenario is a word that I heard by one of our amazing teachers, Michael Bernard Beckwith. And the thing is, I don't know that much about it. It's like, I haven't been studying books about it. I haven't heard many lectures about it. So I thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to trust this. And because I have to trust. And so what happens is, by complete fluke, we have a problem with our app that we need to test. I send out a message to the Flamingos WhatsApp with 70 people. And I say, can somebody help me with testing this app? Sinove, one of our beautiful flamingos, then said, oh, I have time. So she starts testing the app for us. And then suddenly, out of the blue, she never does this ever. I don't think she has ever called me. Sinove calls me, which never happens. We don't call each other. Everybody's just texting each other, right? Leaving voice messages. And then we start talking. We start talking about the app. We start talking about the crisis. And then suddenly I say to her, referring to the crisis, I say, we actually receive the download, we need to work with best case scenario. And then Synnøve, in very, very beautiful, like silence, and, you know, she was very composed and poised, said, oh, but that's what I do when I do future life progressions. I work with best case scenarios. And the funny thing is, whatever we see in the best case scenarios in the future life progressions, that's what happens. And so for us, for me, that was another like crazy synchronicity. To me, that was like, I don't know many people that think about best case scenarios, let alone people that work with best case scenarios. So my download was then, I need to interview Synnøve about what she knows about best case scenarios, and definitely about how she works with it with her clients. So we want to interview Synnøve in the first week of April, know more about this concept, because we're going to work with this concept. But so we are going to ask her to actually come online and tell us about, maybe share with us some of her knowledge and her insights regarding the best case scenario, and how she does, you know, maybe some of the anecdotes she has with working with the best case scenarios. Are you there, Synnøve? Can you unmute yourself? Trying to find you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for inviting me. And
we don't see your video. We don't see.
Oh, I don't know how come it doesn't work. Oh. But I'm on my phone, so probably from my phone, working from my phone.
Okay. So yeah, so you felt the inclination to call me, but you never call me.
I never call you.
And by accident, we started talking about best case scenarios, and then we start finding out that you actually work with the concept, and that you do work with it. Can you tell us how you got into this knowledge of the best case scenario, and how you work with it with your clients, and maybe one or two examples of what happened with your clients?
Yeah, for like 20 years, I've been working with quite severe traumatized people, and we've always worked mostly with their past, and therefore I've done training in a lot of modalities. And I think you said it like beautifully with the personal development, and sometimes it just stops because you have your pride or whatever holding you back. But then I did my hypnotherapy, and I was asking a lot of questions like, okay, so why, if we can do since we all the time have time travels going back, why, how can we do a time travel going forward? Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, was looking at me as if I was a crazy person or something. I was like asking all these kind of questions, and then I think it was the week before I ended my hypnotherapy and regression course. Then this lady, Anne George, came up, and she is the person that had downloaded the FLP, the Future Life Progression. And then she decided to come to Norway, and I just jumped on to do the course, because I knew that I wanted to know more about this. And then I didn't know exactly what it was. It was like future life progressioning. What is that? But just knew that I had to do it.
You felt it. It felt right.
I did definitely feel it was right. And I know from my past that when I'm in my flow, and I just do, like you say when you're downloading, that is all. Every time, I know that is the times when things are just working at the best case scenarios anyways. So I did my training with Anne, and I was kind of intrigued, and I was like, does this work, blah blah blah. And we did some trainings with the other participants, and I was like, okay, but everybody here is like probably like a believer, blah blah blah. So does this actually work in real life? And there was told quite a lot of stories, but I was not sure whether to believe it or not, because there was this skepticism in me
Of
still.
course, we're all skeptical until
Yeah.
we
So
experience it
you,
for
because you
ourselves.
wanted to have the experience yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then mostly for the fun of it, I just asked first. I asked some people, do like anyone want to try this? And I had a lot of people wanting to just try it. And they all were kind of like, okay, that's like, I think they found it a little bit strange that we were time traveling going forward, and a lot of skepticism about it, because like hypnotherapy, you always go back. But people are quite skeptical of time traveling forward. For me, I find the possibility of going forward just as natural as going backwards. So sometimes I will go back and forth, sometimes go forward to find a solution, and then maybe I will go back to a regression or something, and then to resolve or something. So because the future holds a lot of answers. But I think I had like a lot of people like creating a lot of good stuff, or having like a very different life from doing the life progressioning. And the one of the ladies, I think she was 49 or 50 at the time. And
my age.
Yes, and she had been living by herself for quite a long time.
Sounds familiar.
And she was like, I am never going to find the man. Like, I will always be alone.
Everybody who's single is like really perking up right now. Make notes, everybody. This is going to be a good story. You're going to be inundated with clients. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
And she was just like, she was so sure that she was going to be alone. And I said, maybe, and then I suggested to doing the future life progressioning, and she was really skeptical.
Nice.
But she accepted to do because I said, if you don't want to do it, then of course we won't do it. But maybe just sometimes it's about also letting go, and maybe. And she was like, you are freaking me out. She tells me sometimes, because she thinks I freak her out sometimes, because I sometimes can tell in advance before she's doing something or saying something. When she's thinking about it. So she said, okay, if you actually suggest me doing the FLP, then I will go with it. Even though I'm really skeptical about all. And with the process, and I always ask the clients if there's any specific areas that they want to have a look at, because if they do, and there is possibility to do an overall, but I think the amount of information that comes forward is too massive. So I always ask the clients to do one area at a time, and then we will sit for maybe 2.5 or sometimes also 3 hours in the process. So there's a lot of information coming up, and we did the process, and she had a lot of really strong and very direct what do you call it, information.
No
And
way.
she was like, and she was telling me, I don't think this is correct. I don't think this can be correct at all. And because what she was experiencing, because it's not about what you're seeing when you're time traveling, you're actually experiencing it all.
Mhm.
So when she was experiencing, she was like, it, and she was telling, I know that I'm like blah blah blah, but it seems really strange.
Mhm.
And suddenly she said, oh, there is like this blue dress, and she was like, oh, it's kind of like a wedding dress. And I was like, okay. And I asked her, are you alone, or are you with somebody? How are you living and stuff? And then this guy actually showed up.
In her
She did
hypnosis or the
her like,
process.
yes, in the process.
Mhm.
And I always try to, or not I try to, but I always ask the questions that makes you, because I told her, we need to make sure that you can recognize him when you come back to
Wow.
the 2018 at that time. We need you to recognize him as this FLP is going 5 years ahead in time. So we did, and I was writing. I'm writing a lot of notes when we're doing it, because I can't remember afterwards, and neither can the clients, because it's too much information. And then when we were done with the information, she looked at the papers and all the information. She was like, no, I don't think this was kind of weird, felt good, but I don't think any of this will happen, because this does not remind me of anything I've ever seen or experienced before. Like, my body shape was different, my hair was different, my overall feelings towards myself was very different.
She was a different
She
person,
said,
basically.
I've never experienced, yeah. And she said, I've never experienced that my whole life, so I don't buy, in some way, I don't buy into this. It was kind of funny, and I think, like, even, and I said, okay, just stay with it, just keep the notes, and we record the date of this, and we'll see. The next day she called me, and she said she had this like very weird dream, to go to her dad's house. And she told me, okay, so I went to my,
yeah,
yeah, but she had a dream to go to her dad's house.
Yeah.
And suddenly she looked up, and then she saw a picture of her mom that had passed quite a long time ago, and then she was wearing that blue dress, that blue gown that she envisioned herself in the FLP. And that was her first, like, what is this? Why is that gown showing up? And then I think it was a week, and then she said a lot of things inside her started shifting. And then within a week, she called me, and she was like in fire. She was like, I met this guy, blah, blah, blah. He is just matching all of those criteria, but I'm really skeptical. I don't think it can be possible, because I haven't met anyone like since a long time ago. And within a month, they matched. Of course, they matched really well, because it was the perfect match. Because when I do the future life progressioning, we always do the best outcome, the best possible outcome.
Who inspired you to do the best possible outcome? Was that an instruction from Anne Giersch? And I actually I did a session with
No.
Anne Giersch myself, and I actually saw
Yeah.
her at a lecture. She wrote a book as well about
Yeah.
future life progression. Or
Yeah.
was that your idea, the best case scenario, or was it Anne's instruction?
We had, when we were doing it, we had some doing like just life progressioning, where we just tried to do that. And then she also told it was possible that you could try it. But when I started using it after my training, I only do the best outcome for the future, the best case scenario always, because that is what we're after, and that is what we want to bring back when we are living.
So your experience, your generic experience with working with the best case scenario is that it felt right for you. You are guided to only focus on that as an outcome. Your clients are skeptical.
Yeah.
They actually, when you listen to this anecdote and testimonial of this woman who was single, who met her, I don't know, fiance or husband to be within a week after working with you, it felt like when she was tuning into the best case scenario, she was actually living on a different state of consciousness because she couldn't even recognize herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
Definitely.
she was single for many, many years. God knows why, right? You know, maybe she wasn't supposed to meet this man until she was older, in her 50s, like me. And basically, when she met him, because of the work that you've been doing with her, you know, whatever work you've been doing with her, she basically became a different person. And that's why she could stay with this man, because so because of you know, you calling in this timeline of this best case scenario, she started shifting, I feel. And maybe it would have happened anyways if she didn't have the best case scenario. But I think, like Dr. Joe said, when we do not create our future, when the best case scenario future is standing in front of you, we don't recognize it, because we're like, no, this is too good to be true. I can never be happy with a man because I'm so tormented, blah, 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 you know, whatever it is, that what type of story we have about our identity, right? But when we see the best case scenario and we're tuning into the best case scenario, even if we don't believe it, you know, it feels like she recognized this man, he recognized her, and within a week they recognized each other. That was amazing. Yeah.
And also, I always, when I do this work, I always want them to integrate with what they are experiencing in the FLP. Because that is how they can bring it back, and that is how they can recognize within. So in some way, I think it's I think the FLP is it's like when we do the Dr. Joe meditation with tuning into the potentials. Yes. So it's kind of that, but then we're just it's still different.
Yeah,
because
it's absolutely
I've done
different.
the meditation, but this is also kind of different. It's very different still. But it's the when you bring it back and you integrate it all, and I always ask them to ask the questions to their future self, like, do you have any regrets? What is the best advice going forward when going back? So they will have a lot of advices and a lot of like steps. They will get their steps to take to achieve or to have the best scenario. And a lot of people ask me after a few months, maybe if they can come back to do another FLP. And I don't think that Anne is, and she didn't say anything about it because she said, you can do that. But for me, I always say no. If it's the same area, I say no. Because it is about the integration of the process.
Yeah. It's
and
not trying to control the outcome, right? By making it happen. Yeah. I think there's
And it is also about the surrendering part of it
Surrendering.
that we also have been working with Dr. Joe and the meditation stuff. Because when you
Try and make it
surrender,
happen. You're
yeah,
not the
and
same
but when you
person. Yeah.
surrender, that does mean that you are trusting into the future.
Yeah, and the whole problem is they're not creating that outcome because they're coming from lack rather
Yeah,
than the having consciousness, which is
yeah,
scarcity. Scarcity consciousness is I don't have it, so I need to go
yeah,
to psychics, I need to go to do this method to try and create this. Whereas if you're a vibrational match, why this is why we're repeating the term. If you're a vibrational match to having love, to having success, to having money, to having wealth, to being successful as an entrepreneur and in your marriage and in your relationship, you're not going to try and control it. You know it's going to happen in time.
yeah, yeah,
You know, and you just enjoy the process of evolution and unfolding and
yeah,
transformation as it happens. I
yeah,
think you're doing really great work. What I would love to do is we're going to interview you maybe also about other areas, other client testimonials, and what you've
yeah,
experienced with Future Life Progression, because I think this best case scenario thinking, you know, we were talking about it on the WhatsApp today. You know, it's a term that Michael Bernard Beckwith outlined, but I think definitely if we look into maybe more practitioners that have worked with Future Life Progression, I know there's timeline therapy as well. A lot of
yeah,
hypnotherapists work with timeline therapies. I think once we start gathering that information together, there's way more evidence for best case scenario potentials than we dare to imagine. Maybe there's a book out there, you know, maybe I'm going to manifest that book. I don't know, but we manifested you calling me, which was amazing. And this is really, guys and girls, I always say, when you're a vibrational match, you become the vortex, things come to you. And so this is why we never have to chase. We never have to make things happen. We just allow ourselves to download from the field. We trust it. Like, you know, me and Ellen, we were like, we don't know what the best case scenario is. Like, I really don't even know whether there's a book about it or not. I just trusted it. And then that same day, Sinove calls me and we find out that she has a lot of anecdotes and testimonials because of her line of work. So you can see that, you know, once we're going to play the appreciation game and you're going to line up your alignment skills, you're going to break away from the habits of thinking worst case scenario, catastrophic thinking, not believing in a possible, only believing in what is, not believing in possibility. All of these alignment skills that we identified. Once you start practicing these skills on a day-to-day basis, you're going to clean up all the gunk that is stopping you from receiving the guidance. That's all the work that we're doing in the appreciation game. And more than that, we try to make it fun because you're actually going to study the things that, you know, we as geeks are finding or that are coming to us. So I want to thank you, Sinove, for this beautiful example. I think you've been a big hope to so many singles out in the world today. So
thank you,
so
thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you so much. And Sinove has been invited to be one of our players in our game because she, you know, of course, we want her feedback on our game. And we probably are going to be one of her affiliates. So we look forward to that interview. Yeah, so I now am going to talk about the skills to master. So those of you that have been watching some of the alignment skills, so when you look at the alignment skills, you can see that we came up with these alignment skills. So one of them is definitely you need to cultivate vision, and that to have vision means that you're not facing undesired reality, which is all the doom and gloom and all the worst case scenario thinking that's going on right now. So, and we're not saying that worst case scenario thinking is not realistic. We're saying about what has happened is, but what is going to be created. There's a lot of potential there for new solutions, for new innovative thinking, for new creative problem solving. There's a lot of resourcefulness. There's a lot of rebirth that will have to happen in a lot of economic sectors, maybe even in your business industry. Maybe your skill set will need to be revamped. Maybe you're ready for a new chapter in your career or in your business. Maybe there's something that you actually need to let go of, you know? And so once you start trusting, somebody has unmuted themselves. So once you start once you start creating vision and you start tuning into the future or the best possible outcome, you're going to have to stop believing that reality as it is the only way that it will be. Another skill that we're going to practice with the that we're going to practice in the appreciation game is to actually tell a new story. So tell a new story about yourself, tell a new story about your business, tell a new story about what's possible. And this is to break the habit of you telling it as it is or being factual, because you need to tell the truth. And Abraham has a lot of funny videos about people telling the truth, and actually truth is just chewed up old chewing gum, right? And so in order to create a new reality, we have to tell a new story about the new reality. And that is what we're going to practice in the appreciation game. Also, we have to align vibrationally before we take action. But what we see in a lot of businesses is right now, because of the economic crisis and what's going on, there's a lot of panic. There's a lot of people that are stuck. They are in freeze mode. And there's a lot of people that are just really, acting out of urgency because they have to. But I think even though we have to do these things, I believe that right now we can also do the vibrational work in terms of cleaning up our habits and cleaning up, the clutter in our mind, unplugging ourselves from collective pendulums so that we can receive the downloads that are right for you, because we don't have the answer. Nobody out there has the answer, but you have the answer. You can receive the answer for the right next logical step for the evolution of your business or your career or for your livelihood or for whatever problem you're facing. But to do that, we need to stop the mindless action because somebody's telling us, some book is telling us what to do. We have to start tuning into intuition, and the intuition that will come, it will be illogical. It will not even be something that you thought about. It will be something completely out of your comfort zone even. And, just like us, you'll feel excited for no reason. And you'll just think like, I don't know why, but I need to do this. And you're going to trust yourself receiving that type of guidance. And that's what we're going to guide you through in the 4 weeks that we're playing the game. So instead of focusing on what you don't want, which is like an obsession of our society, because we love to talk about what we don't like and what we're running away from and what we're hating and who we're blaming, and the prices of whatever is, we just basically, when you are in creation mode, you have to focus on what you want. And this is one of the biggest teachings. If you establish what is, and then you focus on what you want, because your focus determines the flow of energy, right? And so this is another thing that, it seems so easy. All of the things here, you probably know it, but are you living it? Are you practicing it? Are you applying it into your business? And I mean, even Ellen and I, we have to grab ourselves and to say, hey, I'm now stuck here. I have to get myself out. We have to realign. So another thing is definitely the teaching of being a vibrational match, because once you are already a vibrational match to something, and what is showing up in your reality, in your business, in your love life, in your relationships, in your bank account, that is a vibrational match to your level of consciousness. And how you are mastering the alignment skills will actually determine how these assets or how these relationships will evolve. And there's many future potentials, but what we want to teach you is to really, just like Sinove was guided to do, is just to focus on the best possible outcome, the best case scenario thinking. And because from all the infinite possibilities, there is a possibility of best case scenario. And that best case scenario means that you and your talents and your experience, but maybe even the pain that you've had in your life and the challenges that you've had in your life, they are there to help you serve a bigger community. Your talents will be needed by the collective. Your life path will be of service to a bigger plan. And this is where we believe you need to surrender your ego plan to make way for the bigger plan. And that's when you need to surrender maybe all the business plans that you've had for yourself, maybe all the beautiful ideas that you had. This is what I'm going to create now because of what's happening in a crisis. Maybe you need to realign again, and you need to become a vibrational match, the best possible outcome. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to get what you want. It actually means that you're going to get even more of what you didn't think was possible, but it's going to come in a way that you don't know how to expect it. And this is all the time how things happen in our lives, right? So the opposite of being a vibrational match to what you want is, of course, is being crazy, is being insane, is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. It's just living in scarcity, living in competition, living in force, trying to control, manipulate, and fix outcomes. And it doesn't work. you know, we have so many examples now that actually when we start tuning into to the field, to the collective intelligence around us, that actually the right business partners come to us, the right even romantic partners come to us. Like I definitely had a beautiful testimonial of how I started trusting my intuition in my love life and how that worked out for me, you know. So I think, you know, and that we'll share in the relationship game. But right now we want to focus on helping people to realign their businesses, because that is going to be one of the biggest concerns for our collective right now. So when we play the appreciation game, we are using appreciation as a way to get out of the 7 toxic ways of being. We also get people out of the pendulums of complaining, worrying, and over-analysis. And as I said, your brain also, according to the latest science research, our brain is a polarity machine. Our brain is just there to think in yes, but, no, but, and actually it's just like a ping pong game and our tennis match in our head. And literally, the best case scenario outcomes and solutions and steps are not going to be coming from our brain. They're going to come from downloads. That's what I really believe. That's really when we're co-creating with the divine and we're not following our ego plan anymore. And so when we realign, we're not going to be complaining because things are not happening the way we want. We're not going to be worrying because we're going to be trusting, and we're not going to be analyzing. But what we're going to do is we're going to realign, we're going to tune in, and we're going to just listen very clearly. And then we're just going to get like impulses. We're going to get blocks of thoughts, and then we're going to trust them. And that's what we're going to be practicing in the appreciation game. Also, one of the other things that we have to learn as human beings is to believe in infinite potential. And literally, these are relatively new teachings, even for me and Ellen, because it was just like, you know, once I believe that Dr. Joe was talking about it, Greg Braden was talking about it, but I wasn't ready for it. And when I was ready for it, I was thinking, oh my God, what does it mean? Infinite potential. Does it mean there's many timelines, many different potentials? How can I choose? How do I know which one is mine? You know, there's many teachings out there, but what we want to do is we want to present to you the evidence of people that are working with these concepts of infinite potential, their infinite potential, and the infinite potential of the quantum field and of timelines. And that's how we want to inspire you to take back your power and not to believe in the pendulums of the collective that we are all going to be in miserable shit for the next 5 years, right? Because that's, you can choose that timeline, but I'm not going to be in that timeline. And if I'm going to be in the timeline, I'm going to be thriving. So those of you that know your power, you know what I'm talking about. So also what we need to cultivate more than ever is to not be obsessed by the appearances. Chapter 4 of the Science of Getting Rich. Appearances, the Course in Miracles talks about it as well. Everything that is manifested is appearance. You know, it's like just like one quantum potential. Do you want to fix that quantum potential to like a prison sentence? Or do you want to deal with that quantum potential as, you know, yeah, that's what I manifested because I was like manifesting by default. Now I'm going to be more deliberate about my manifestation and I'm going to realign again. And so, but to do that, you need to stop obsessing about the appearances of the world or the minute quantum potentials that is now appearing as your reality. You have to now become a new vibrational match to an unseen potential, the best case scenario potential. And that's what we're going to inspire you to do in the next appreciation game. So basically, we want to go into the research about the heart and brain coherence and intuition. And this is coming from the last newsletter from the HeartMath Institute. Those of you that are subscribed to the newsletter, this was that literally in the newsletter. It says, excessive worry, anxiety, or fear compromises the immune system and much more, makes us increasingly susceptible to viruses and disease. And of course, when you tune into the collective news and the social media, and you don't create discernment in your own being, you're going to be more susceptible to all the fear and worry and anxiety that is rampant right now. Fear, definitely, we know that disempowers us, but coherence, which is created from the simple state of appreciation, coherence leaves us more in charge of our mental and emotional nature and provides easier access to our intuitive guidance and highest choices. Isn't that a beautiful word? Highest choices. So instead of making all these choices out of fear, anxiety, and worry, and worst case scenario, we're talking about highest choices. Fear disrupts this connection, especially when we need it the most for grounded direction. So fear, when we're living in fear, and I would say the 7 toxic ways of thinking are all based on fear. We are definitely losing the connection with how we are going to be receiving that guidance. So this is coming from an article of the HeartMath. They actually, we found out today, because we didn't know this, they did a lot of scientific research on intuition. And this is very beautiful. We're going to study this as a group as well. Because we're gonna like really be like a mastermind. So we're playing the appreciation game, but every day we're gonna share amazing material that helps you build a very strong neural network in your being about these teachings, so that after 28 days, you'll be like, gosh, you know, I'm a different person. I never thought I knew this much about intuition. I never thought I could look at my ways of being and how I'm plugged into the pendulums of the collective in such a, you know, enlightened way. But definitely intuition is a very misunderstood concept, but HeartMath has done a lot of research around it, Institute of Noetic Sciences as well. And so let's look at what they say. HeartMath researchers and many others around the world have conducted controlled and scientifically validated studies to determine how human intuition works. This research can help validate what we have believed for a very long time, which is the heart is the source of wisdom, higher intelligence, and intuition. So it's not our brain, but it is the heart. So a lot of the practices, including appreciation, are focusing us back towards the wisdom of the heart, which has the largest electromagnetic field. And when we are tuned into the wisdom of the heart, and that electromagnetic field is broadening and pulsating, we're actually becoming like a receiver and a sender of actually the information that is going to benefit us. So we're going to be knowing what the intentions are of people. We're going to be knowing what people are really feeling. We're going to be compassionate. We're not going to be judging them, but we're going to be seeing a clearer picture. And also there's something else that we're going to be tuning into, and that is something that we call non-local intuition. A primary definition of intuition is the ability to understand or know something without conscious reasoning. Of the 3 types of intuition, implicit knowledge, energetic sensitivity, and non-local intuition, HeartMath researchers decided to study non-local intuition. The most exciting one, non-local intuition cannot be explained by past or forgotten knowledge, implicit processes, or by sensing environmental signals, energetic sensitivity. And I can say non-local intuition is something that is very, very valid. It is, you know, from the information that, from my own experience, I can tell you that I have attracted business partners to me based on non-local intuition, their non-local intuition sensing my non-local intention. And so I have many examples of that, but definitely, and definitely probably I even did it in my love life, you know, so, but definitely I think, you know, this non-local intuition is something that is responsible for a lot of creativity and a lot of resourcefulness of the most inventive inventors and entrepreneurs in our lives. And so, and these are not people that are super special. These are people that just happen to be unconsciously competent. You're going to be consciously competent because you're going to study this and you want to master this. So there is a book about this again. Of course, we are geeks. We bought all the books. According to Greg Braden in his book, Wired to Thrive, he states that we need to focus on appreciation, gratitude, care, and compassion. For this triggers the optimal signal from the heart to the brain called optimal coherence of 1 hertz, which is the doorway to deep states of intuition. So we're going to study those books together. And so, yeah, I'm looking at the numbers. So yeah, so from that amazing little booklet, that paper, that scientific paper that we manifested out of nowhere, this book called The Appreciative Heart. This is these are the research findings about appreciation, and appreciation is increasing the value of something, which is the absolute opposite of the 7 toxic ways of thinking. Optimal functioning, we get more peace and an internal balance, which means we're more, we're more receptive to what the field is giving us. We're more in harmony, so we're not in fight or flight. We're more buoyant, we feel more vital, we feel more invigorated, we are less burdened by things that happen in life. We have a clear mind, we have clarity in our decisions, which is very important in these times that we live in now. We get intuitive insights, we're going to understand way more about intuition. You know, right now, I think, you know, you ask anybody what intuition is, and it's like antioxidants. Nobody has the right understanding. So let's delve into the scientific understanding of intuition, right? And then also creativity flows, because we're more trusting in the future. We're more like believing in infinite possibilities. We're believing more in ourselves. We can let the creativity flow, and we feel more greater connectedness, which means that we're going to be more of service. We're more in contribution. We're not in like scarcity. We're not in competing. We don't even believe in competition. We just know that the right people will be working with us, and the right business partners and the right marriage partner or whatever it is will find us. Yeah. So we want to walk you through what we're going to do in the 4 weeks of the appreciation game. So we're going to go through 4 weeks, and I'm thinking the first week is really about knowing when you are in a program and when you're in a pendulum, because it is very important that you actually understand when you are in one, so that you can observe it and that you know how to get out of it as well. So we might get into the reality transurfing teachings. The second week is really about knowing yourself and shortening your refractory period and understanding what is intuition, so that you can discern between, you know, how you're using your alignment skills, and how then you can strengthen some of the alignment skills that are really good, that are really working for you, or maybe even tackle some of the Achilles heels, I would say, in your alignment skills. Maybe there is one Achilles heel you might have because of a strong moral attitude about telling the truth or being factual or being in reality, that might be stopping you from, you know, being a visionary or tuning into best case scenarios. So we're going to look at also the hurdles that might stop you from actually aligning with your superpowers, right? Week 3, we're going to really teach you how to become a vibrational match, to do the vibrational work before you take action, and how to know when you're receiving the downloads, how it feels when you're receiving the downloads, and how to discern it from your analytical mind that's always trying to tell you what to do, and that you should be worried, and that you're not working hard enough, and that you're not worthy, etc. I've been there, so I know I can tell you all about it. Week 4, we're really going to master all the things that we've been teaching for the last 3 weeks. And really, it's about, once you receive the intuition, how do you then take the next step? And how do you surrender it every step of the way? And how do you recognize the people? The way that I can tell you that I recognize the right people is that they recognize me. There's a really simple process here. When you are a vibrational match to the best positive outcome, to the best case scenario, those people recognize you as well. Whether it's in love or whether it's in business, they just come to you. They just feel drawn to you. And that is a law, because when you are a vibrational match, you are that vibrational match. So it doesn't matter whether it's a really bad vibrational match, it's a really good one. But once you're raising your vibration, and you're going to be determining, this is the level of consciousness that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to surrender my life to the divine. I'm going to be a channel for the best of all, for everybody. Those people that are in alignment with you, they will recognize you. They won't be trying to understand why they should be with you, why they should work with you. They just feel it. And I know this from experience, because this happened in my love life, and this happened in my business life as well. So now back to Ellen, and I hope you enjoyed listening to this little foray of what we're going to do, Ellen, because as you know, Ellen and I just basically downloaded this since Tuesday.
Yeah, I loved it. Thank you. So the next thing is the book club. So we have a beautiful bonus for you all if you want to play the game with us, and that is the Law of Vibration Book Club. And what's the difference between a regular book club and the Appreciation Game Book Club is that it's more of a study group. it just doesn't sound very cool, so it's called book club, but it's a study group. So instead of reading a book and then a few days before the book club meeting is, you're like reading the book and you're not really taking in the knowledge and sort of rushing through it. No, the point here is to study chapter by chapter, paragraph by paragraph, word by word, and actually embody it too. So it's a game, so we're also going to be like posting and stuff with each other, but it's not an accountability game. You're not like you have to do this now or anything like that, but it's going to be super fun, and it's launching in April, and the early bird offer is that if you register before Sunday 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, then you get this bonus, and it's going to be super fun. Just wondering if, Angelique, do you have anything to add? Did I forget something?
So basically, Ellen and I have millions of books that we wanted to study, but actually there was one book that we really felt that resonated with us, and it's the Abraham Hicks book. It's The Power of Emotions or something. It's like one of these books about emotions, and it's about vibrational living. And we were just studying chapter 1, and we're like, oh my God, this is so written for this
especially
time.
right now, yeah.
Yeah, especially right now.
We need it right now, that book.
And so what we want to do is we want to study the book, and then maybe link it up with some other teachings, because we think very like we connect things with each other, but then we also want to ask you to connect it with one of the alignment skills. So the book club is a really low commitment type of thing, but people that don't want to just consume books like you consume chips or you consume a TV series, but that really want to delve into the paragraphs, that want to embody it, that want to live it, that want to practice their alignment skill. Joining the book club will be an easy way to get access to us, but you won't be playing the appreciation game, because the appreciation game is a real deep dive into breaking a lot of habits and to really teaching yourself, to condition yourself to embody a new vibration and to embody it and to see it and show up in your life. The book club is a low investment thing for people that might not feel ready to be in the appreciation game, or that don't need it, or that don't really want to do the appreciation game. Feel free to watch for our webinar when we outline the book club. Yeah. So Ellen can talk us through the app.
Yes, the app. So much fun. So we have an app. I'm still so excited about it. I mean, we've been using it. It's super fun. It's of course very beta. That means we're all testing it. So everyone can use it. We're just gonna shoot a little video to explain how to sign up, because it's easy, but you just need to know how. And Angelique learned today, so that's the only thing. So yeah, so you can appreciate by yourself, write it in a notebook, write it in your phone, but you won't be able to get like these graphs. So what we want is to be able to see what's happening when I'm appreciating. Am I like manifesting things? How was I feeling? How have I been shifting? Oh my gosh, I've been in such a high vibration for so long. And then if you look at these graphs over here, the overall state graph, you can see, oh, look, the biggest bar is where you've been most of the time. So that's just super fun to see. And then here on the other side, you can see another beautiful graph, what will show you the befores and the afters. So I think that's super cool, and it'll look different for everyone. And then this one's really cool. I'm using my mouse, but you can't see it, but those purple lines and those green lines, you can hover over them when you're in the app, and it will show you that thingy, that bar, that square with Wednesday, March 18th. It will show you that. And then at the bottom, it has the comments you've created. So when you're in a certain day, you may want to say at the beginning of what kind of day is it? It's Monday morning. How was I feeling before? I was a little rushed when I was getting to work. So you just sort of write that down, so you know, oh, that's why I was a bit lower, because I was a little rushing, or something like that. Or you're just like, oh, today I feel inspired to create whatever, and you can all see it back. And I just really like that, because that gives you an overview of all you've gone through without having to flip through a book or forget your book and write it on a piece of paper and not having everything together. So yeah, we love the app. We're using it all the time.
I also want to add that, I love writing in my books, and I buy the most beautiful notebooks, and I get the most beautiful notebooks as gifts. But what happens is that My notebook is not with me because actually my bag is this small, or I have a huge bag with my computer and my chargers in it, and it's so heavy. And basically the appreciation game app, when you have it on your phone, you don't have to bring anything with you. You can access it on your computer, you can access it day and night, but also it gives you a breakdown of your moods. You know, basically you can really read up on your notes, you can read up on, you can see your mood shifts, and you can see what happened in which day, and you can just note it down in one app. And I think this is really going to allow you to track your behavior, and the way that appreciation is a game changer in your life. The beautiful thing is, you know, we really believe that once you start appreciating at least 3 times a day, and you're used to actually taking the time to actually start playing with this app, you will get like more results, because it's going to be like a ritual for you, like writing down your moods, setting your intentions. Like what you see here is, I'm appreciating the best positive outcome, the best scenario outcome. I'm always appreciating the future. I'm always appreciating the best case scenario for the future. I never talk about what is, I always talk about what will happen. And I think the most visionary creators, they always are giving thanks for things that have not even happened yet. So that's what I do, and that feels the best for me. You might be doing something else, but what I want to see over time is, you know, I was in love and joy. I went from love to joy. A lot of the time you can see me hovering around, you know, definitely the more positive emotions, and then going even higher. But what I want to see over time is that, you know, that probably a lot of these things that I've been writing down, they will be manifesting in my life. And wouldn't it be nice if you could just track it back? We will be updating the app, so we want to really add more features to it. But right now, as it is in beta, we want you to be able to use it for free, to just you get the most benefit out of it. And we're going to think of how we're going to make it even more useful for people that play the game, or people that don't play the game, but that just want to track their vibrational set point 3 times a day, or even more times a day, or that want to track their vibrational set points in relationship to a goal, or to a specific objective that they're working towards. Yeah. So Alan, I'm just going to go to the next slide if I can.
Yes. So because these are uncertain times, which we believe that's why we wanted to do this game right now, and this way is needed right now. So we're offering it for 50% discount for everyone who wants to play. We really feel like it's important to come together. We've been noticing it with everyone around us. Everyone's calling everyone and FaceTiming their grandparents, and we feel the need to be together. And we want to be together with people who are doing the work and are creating the best outcomes for themselves too. And also we're doing this for not just ourselves, but for everyone and the planet. And as Abraham says, one person in alignment is more powerful than 1 million who are not. So it's kind of our responsibility to do this. We need to shift away from mass consciousness and towards best case scenario now more than ever. Yeah, because mass consciousness is, the pendulums are so powerful right now. It's much easier to get sucked into them. So it's not for 24 hours. I don't know why. That's a mistake. It's not sign up within 24 hours. It's until Thursday night, I think we decided, right?
Thursday night, 9 p.m. So as long as you sign up before the game starts at next Thursday, 9 p.m., you are eligible to get the game that's normally 333. We wanted beautiful numbers, including VAT. We're discounted it for $166.50. If you sign up before Sunday, 11 p.m. Californian time, you're gonna get the first month of the book club for free, which is worth 44 euros, including VAT. And definitely, you know, some of you may want to play 3 months with us because you trust our downloads. You just know that you want to play the games with us. You're going to get 30% discount. We're going to set up a payment scheme. The 6 months one, you're going to even get a much bigger discount. For 6 months, it's going to be 45% discount. And so, you know, so just feel what's right for you. Just trust your intuition. And if you don't want to play with us, you know, you can also just download the game. You know, we really want anybody, you know, we know that the right people are already playing with us. It already happened. The right people will be working with us. The right people will be benefiting from the things that we're downloading. And the right people will be just using the app, and the right people will join the book club. So we're not too worried about it. We just feel that, you know, we're just playing this for fun. Yeah.
And we're super professional. We have a whole link with that you can click, and then you can go and purchase. So I put it there in the chat box, so you can just click it.
We're also going to be sending it out via email and putting it in the Facebook events.
Yes, we'll be. It is being recorded, and we will send it out. We'll send it out to the mailing list. If you're not on that,
yes,
then please let me know. So yeah.
So yeah, let's
PM PST.
I know. So we
also want to add that if there are any healthcare professionals, anyone who's working extra hard during these times, you get the game for free.
So basically, if you're a healthcare professional, if you're working in hospital, if you're working in a call center, assisting doctors or emergency teams, you're working with the fire department, or maybe you're working with the, you know, the armed forces, or with the, you know, the police. A lot of these people are under a lot of pressure right now. We want you to know that we love you, we appreciate you, and if you, we want to make this offer for you as long as we exist as a company. If you ever want to play a game with us for 1 month, just to know what it is, you get it for free. And we don't know how long this offer will last, but you know, we don't even know whether you have time right now. But if any point in time in the future you want to play a game with us for free, we're going to be offering that to you. Just reach out to us and we'll make sure, even if you have like 50 people that want to, you know, join our game, you know, feel free to do that. We'll be happy to accommodate that. So yeah, if you're not on the email list, you need to register via the Facebook event. Go to our Conscious World Club Facebook, and then you'll see the event. You can register there. You'll be signed up on the email list, and you'll get all the different types of you'll be getting all the different types of recordings and webinars and things that we'll be sending out. So yeah, so basically Ashley is one of our players. She's working in a hospital. Yeah, that is amazing. So she could play this game for free if she wants to, because she's probably going to be dealing with a lot of the things that we're hearing about in the news. So any questions out there, please feel free to message us via our Facebook private messaging, or, you know, and we'll be hearing from you. We also have an email address. It's the appreciationgame2020@gmail.com. But definitely, if you want to look at the offer, if you feel this is the right thing for you to do it. We've had a lot of amazing testimonials. We really believe also that we are receiving this download and the right people will come to us. So if you feel this excited about this, if you feel, oh my God, this is so me, I'm going to make a breakthrough, just trust it. And we have if you're not happy, you're going to get money back guarantee anyways, because we actually really believe that the people that are going to join us, they're going to really, really feel that this is the right thing for them. So we don't expect to ever need to have to, you know, have conversations about giving money back or not. So yeah. Because we expect that the people that are our ideal clients, they love us. They actually complain when we don't give them enough work. Literally, we've been experimenting with different formats. And when we tried to tone it down, they were all complaining. They were like, we want more to do. We want more stuff to do. And that's really the type of client that we are working with. And so
I want to add that it's really fun. So it's a beautiful balance between doing the work and overcoming yourself, and putting yourself out of your comfort zone, but it's also super fun, and it's so much fun to be in groups and read and learn from each other. That's why we really love the word and use the word game, because it really is a game. It's fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And joy is a super high vibration, right?
Yes.
I just learned that. So yeah, it's a game.
Yes. And also I think what is very important is that, you know, it's like you need to now learn to trust, to know what is the next best thing to do. I mean, some people will want to do this by themselves. Some people will feel more called to work with other teachers. The appreciation game is in basically, we told our developer, what are we? Well, we're the first law of attraction accountability community. We're an accountability community. You can go to many teachers and many teachers will give you lots of stuff and you never have to look at it. You can buy all the books, all the courses, go to many retreats and workshops, and then you're back at home. You're in your business, you're in your relationship, and you're still going to be confronting your own self. What we do at the appreciation game is we teach you how to be accountable to the group and how to be accountable to yourself, but how to know what you need to shift and to inspire yourself to shift and to read about the breakthroughs that others are having, so that you are not going to feel stuck, but that you feel inspired to follow in their footpaths. So that's what we want to do. So yeah, thank you everybody for your beautiful comments. We want to see you later. We'll probably see you later. And yeah, if you want to get the deal of the book club, register before Sunday, 11 p.m. PST. And if you register before the Thursday, 9 p.m. CET time, you'll get the 50% offer, because we want you all to start playing the game with us. We'll be receiving many, many more downloads. We don't know what the next game is, but we believe that this is very important. This specific topic about creating from the best case scenarios and the synchronicities that we've been experiencing, we believe that the world is ready for it. And if you feel called to join us, you're ready for it too. Yeah. So lots of love. See you later. Bye, everybody.
I love what Ilona says. We so need this now. So agree.
Ilona, the best already happened to you. You're so beautiful. You're going to attract, like, you don't even need that future life progression, you know, but yeah, we're going to all like, we're receiving amazing downloads. So, but yeah, we look forward to playing with all of you, those of you that feel this is right for them. Otherwise, we might see you in the book club. Otherwise, just download our app and just really play with it, you know, be accountable to yourself. And if you want to play in a group, join us. It's going to be fun. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.